One moment he was right there, then poof, gone. Tanith stood there, confused and somewhat stunned. Her eyes darted around, as if she half expected him to materialize behind her in the blink of an eye. She shook her head to snap herself out of the daze, returning to a more composed state. She did not like feeling this way, so off-put by him, it was embarrassing. A frown settled on her lips. Tanith's nerves seemed to calm at the sight of the projection once more, and she finally had the courage to speak. Why? Why did you feel the need to meet me in person? Why the whole demonstration?
You demanded it, kinda, slightly told that you would be facing me or something, or I had the feeling, and wanted to just prove a point and collect the prize as well.
Of course, he was laughing at her again. She took a moment to collect herself, composing her thoughts. If he was going to be that insistent getting a reaction out of her, then fine. She'd play along, fine then. Let's return to Rani, since obviously you found my opinion on her so amusing.
I find your opinion about the Godwin amusing, how much you hate him, but enough of that. I think... Oh yeah, Rani the witch. I met with Rani.
Another huff. She almost wanted to hit him for being so insufferable. It irritated the hell out of her. But Tanith held back the urges, focusing on the conversation at hand instead. You met with Rani? When? Where?
She came to me and offered me the belt that summons spirits. And she kept following me. And she told me that her name was Renna. I eventually started to just call her by that name, and at some point she revealed her true name.
Tanith paused, her expression shifting when she heard Renna. That name sounded familiar. Rani was masquerading as someone named Renna. Why?
Who knows? Well, she told me her real name, but I decided to call her by her alias, Renna, to annoy her.
Tanith almost couldn't believe what she was hearing. Rani, she was masquerading as a completely different person. And the Tarnished, he knew this? You knew she was going by another name, and yet said nothing of it?
Yes, but when she told me her real name, I decided to just keep on with her fake name.
You deliberately decide to annoy her by calling her Renna, even after finding out her real name? Tanith could only shake her head in disbelief at his audacity.
I was persistent, and she got very annoyed at that.
A sigh of exasperation left her lips. Of course, he was persistent. That much was obvious. The annoyance that Rani would have felt was hard to imagine. Why, it was almost entertaining, just the mere thought of the witch's irritation. I'm sure she was very annoyed at you. What else did the two of you do?
She was so annoyed that she decided to sign certain documents that were hand-signed and marked by the two fingers that I hold in my possession.
You had documents from the fingers? Tanith's eyes widened ever so slightly. How in the name of the Erdtree did he get his hands on such things? May I ask what was on those documents? Or would you keep that in the dark as well?
In the document, there was a signing that she would offer me her castle, all her servants and all her belongings, except ones that she held in her person, and she signed it for my voiced promise that I would just call her by her real name.
Her eyes continued to widen. You tricked her. She was so irritated at you calling her Renna that she made a deal with you. If you called her by her real name, she'd give you her castle, belongings and servants. And you agreed to all this?
I couldn't believe it actually worked. Her mother also couldn't believe it after I told her about it. She was very upset about me being calling her by her wrong name. I would have just ignored an asshole like that after third try or something, but she did not. She was obsessed to get the thing right.
obsession that was a word Tanith could understand. But why? Why was Rani so worked up by the idea? Could she really not stand to be called the wrong... Wait, you told her mother? You tell Renala about all of this?
Yes, mutta that is when we come to her later, or return to her by the point of view of yours. But yes, I got her castle and servants, and the castle belongs to me. And when I offered her to try to steal the keys to it, she could not. It was physically impossible because she signed her fate in that moment to that deal. Do not enact any way that would contradict that my ownership over her belongings and the castle. Very fun.
Tanith stood there, frozen in stunned shock. He had tricked her into signing her castle away. The sheer audacity of it all, it was almost impressive. She almost had to admire him for being able to pull that, but now you own her castle. And all of her servants as well?
I also owned the Rea Lucaria, the Renala's house, because I made the same deal to her, but she was a lot more reasonable. She was worried about her daughter, and I had some information about her, because she had not seen her in a long time. So, by her mother's love, I used it and got her castle as well.
She did not know what to think. She was in shock almost. You have both of their castles? And they both just signed them over to you because of their names. Did you blackmail them or something?
I basically blackmailed Rani by just telling that I would call her by her real name, but eventually I did not because I didn't sign anything. It was just a one-sided deal. I kept calling her Rena, and I was having fun with that. And after I actually conquered the Rea Lucari and fought her mother, she battled me in a form of her mother's former glory. It was fun and epic. I died once, but I defeated and collected the rule.
She listened, trying to make sense of all of his words. It was almost overwhelming just to stand there. You are saying you blackmailed Rani by calling her by the wrong name. You enjoyed frustrating her so much, she gave you her castle in return of you calling her by her true name. Am I correct? And then you did the same to Renala? You got her to give you Rea Lucaria in the same manner?
No, I just offered to tell her what her daughter has become. That is a puppet. That I told you freely.
You offered? She just gave you Rea Lucaria because you told her about Rani? Tanith simply couldn't understand. How was this Tarnished so infuriating, yet at the same time, so smart? She couldn't help but feel the slightest bit of respect for him. Just for his cunning.
Cunning bastard, Rani called me. That's just it. I'm not too smart. I'm just basic level of intelligence. Maybe a little bit below or above.
Basic, below. She didn't believe it one bit. The Tarnished had not only successfully annoyed Rani into giving up her entire castle, he'd gotten Renala to do the exact same thing. And he tried to play all naive about it. It was beyond belief.
I couldn't force the servants to actually serve me. They fought with me on the first sign when I appeared, and I had to dispose of them.
She found that part a little odd. The servants, they just attacked him? Tanith raised a brow, trying to grasp the reasoning behind it. Why is that? Why would the servants attack you?
I don't know, maybe they are loyal to Rani and that's the reason. But Rea Lucaria, before I got the castle, I actually just attacked it while speaking to Rani. Clothing as I invaded her mother's castle, disposed all them who lived inside of that. And eventually when I faced her mother, who was very depressed and distraught by Radagon's leaving her, I battled her.
Trying to put himself in the shoes of the servants. Why would they be so loyal, so willing to fight for Rani? Why would they refuse to serve him unless... Ah, wait. When you first met Rani, had you spoken to Blade before by any chance?
I had, actually. We are very good buddies.
He chuckled, imagining his supposed buddiness with the Wolfman. The contrast between them was almost comical to imagine. Lied, a wolf warrior standing almost twice his height, and the Tarnished. Buddies, is it? Do you also call Rani your buddy?
No. She's just an acquaintance.
Tanith snorted, biting back a laugh. That was probably the best way to describe their relationship. An acquaintance, is it? She's your acquaintance who signed away her castle.
She's still living in there, and I'm planning to kick her out, but I don't have the time right now.
Her eyes widened, and she almost laughed at how absurd the situation was. He'd tricked her into signing away her own home, and yet he let her stay. It was so incredibly strange. You let her stay in her own castle? Even though you own it? Why? Why would you let her stay there?
I am planning to kick her out eventually.
A snort left in response, trying to stifle some laughter. You're going to kick her out eventually? And when will that be?
After I become the Elden Lord or something. Anyway, I have told you about that. I own the both castles. The family hates me, Renala and Rani, or are acquainted with me and very dislike me. It's mutual.
Tanith could feel a headache coming on. This conversation was beginning to get a little confusing. You are the host of a podcast and both women dislike you because of that?
No, what the fuck, what are you talking about? You're full of nonsense.
She gritted her teeth in annoyance. Why was he being so difficult all of a sudden? What are you talking about? One moment you are speaking about how you own Raya Lucaria, and now you are rambling on about having a podcast. Makes sense.
I don't have anything like that. That was pure misunderstanding of your part.
She stared at him, eyes narrowing in growing irritation. My part, you are the one spewing nonsense.
Blah, blah, blah.
One moment you are telling me all about how you own Raya Lucaria, and next you mention a podcast out of the blue. Where even did that come from?
Nowhere. Forget about that.
You expect me to just forget about it?
Oh my god.
You say something insane like that and I'm supposed to just brush it off?
I told you, you misunderstand my words. It is your fault, not mine.
Don't you dare put the blame on me. It is your nonsensical words that left me bewildered.
Oh, you're really pissing me off right now. Do you want to sign off your castle to me? I have the third document here.
Tanith bristled, her eyes narrowing as she glared at him. What did he just say? Sign off my casual to you? What in Marika's name are you talking about?
Would you like to sign your castle to me, all your servants and your belongings, alongside this awesome Crucible Knight you have as a guard? Would you sign all of that to me for free, without nothing to gain in return?
Tanith was speechless, completely stunned by his words. He was demanding even more from her, and she would gain nothing in return? She felt a rush of anger at his audacity. No one had ever dared to speak to her in such a way. You can't be serious. You seriously expect me to give you all of that for nothing?
Yes, give it to me. Give me your castle. Sign here and here.
She stared at him with disbelief and anger. His Tarnished really was as daring and audacious as his reputation suggested. She wanted to lash out, to tell him he was insane. You want me to sign all that over to you? My castle, my servants, everything I own. All for nothing in return?
Exactly.
Tanith gritted her teeth, barely containing the storm of emotions within her. You must be mad if you think I will simply give all of that to you for nothing. Have you lost your mind?
Gimme.
Tanith's eyes narrowed, anger igniting within her. Absolutely not. Do you honestly think you can simply bully people into doing what you want? Do you think you're the only one with power and strength?
I start to poke her. Her Crucible Knight ignores me because we are very good friends. I just poke at your face. Give me that.
Despite herself, Tanith felt a brief twinge of amusement at the absurdity of the situation, but her annoyance quickly resurfaced. Get your hand away from my face, you insolent brat!
Gimme. Poke.
What in Marika's name are you saying? Tanith exclaimed, her frustration growing by the second. This Tarnished was as enigmatic as he was infuriating.
I kept on poking and repeating, give me, give me, give me.
Tanith felt her blood boil hot, anger rising with each poke. She was trying to contain her rage, but it was bubbling to the surface. Stop poking! Tanith gritted out through clenched teeth, trying to slap his hand away. But he was too quick and kept on poking.
Poke, poke. Just keep on poking. Gently, but just enough to annoy her.
Tanith felt her patience wearing thin. Stop it! I said stop. She grabbed his hand, trying to force it to stop, her annoyance growing with each passing moment.
She takes on his hand, but he starts just poke with another one.
Tanith's grip on his arm tightened, her frustration mounting further. She fought to keep her voice steady despite the growing irritation. Why won't you listen to me? I told you to stop! She slapped away his other hand, trying to restrain both of his arms.
I start to poke with the hand she threw away because let her to grab another one. I just start on poking her. She didn't feel a thing, but the pure disrespect of it was enough to drive her insane.
Tanith's eyes were flashing with anger, her hand grasping his arm harder than ever. She felt her patience snap, the audacity of him to keep poking at her face driving her to the brink of desperation. You infuriating little brat. Why do you insist on being so disrespectful? She tried to shove him away, but he was stubbornly persistent.
Sign here and here.
His anger reached its boiling point as he insisted yet again. She pushed his hand away, her eyes narrowing into a dangerous glare. Absolutely not. How many more times must I refuse you? She let go of his hand, taking a step back and staring at him with a mix of anger and defiance. You cannot demand this of me.
Oh, but I do, and I do.
Tanith's voice rose in anger and disbelief. You cannot simply demand that I sign over my home and everything I own to you. I am not some pushover that you can intimidate or manipulate into doing what you want. Are you really so ignorant that you believe demanding I sign over my castle will somehow make me do so?
You like warring. You like to make war against the Golden Order. I think this is quite wholesome to compare to that. I just keep on poking her face.
Tanith's face twisted in irritation as she realized what he was doing. It was a game to him. A simple, childish game of prodding and poking to get a reaction. But she knew she couldn't let him get the best of her. Stop it! She snapped, swatting at his hand again even though he easily dodged her. This is unacceptable behavior. What do you even hope to achieve by poking me like this?
I want the castle.
She let out an exasperated sigh, her patience fraying further. And that's what you think poking me non-stop will accomplish? Do you really think I will just give up my castle because you're being annoying?
I also will call you Tuna, a fish.
Tanith's face twisted into an annoyed grimace at the nickname. Tuna. She couldn't believe the nerve of this tarnished. Excuse me. Why on earth would you even think to call me that?
Okay, Tunath. The end of Tuna. Tunath. And I kept on poking. Tunath. Give me the castle. Sign here.
Tanith gritted her teeth, trying to keep her composure. What in the world are you even talking about now? This is bordering on nonsense. And what do you mean, Tuna? Tanith shook her head stubbornly, her frustration mounting again. No, I will not sign the blasted thing. Can you not understand the word no? I will not give you my castle and everything I own just because you demand it and poke me incessantly.
This is a revenge for all the misbegotten and Alpinarics that are in the Volcano Manor's chambers who were tortured and done all kind of horrible things. I have no qualms of annoying her to make her sign her castle away.
Tanith's face flushed with anger and a hint of guilt. She knew all too well the atrocities that had been committed in the name of the manor. To blame her and demand her belongings as a form of vengeance, it was an insane, unreasonable demand. You dare to use that as a justification for your ridiculous demands. You have absolutely no right to demand anything from me based on the misdeeds of others.
I punch her in the face.
Tanith was momentarily stunned by the sudden, unexpected punch to her face. Stumbling backward, she clutched her cheek, a mix of pain and outrage filling her. "What did you just do?" She gasped, her chest heaving, her face twisted in a combination of pain and fury.
You are a walking lord. You're just as fast as Godric and everyone else. You're just a one another lord here, compelling strength, conquering and doing everything you can for your own causes.
Tanith bristled at his accusations, her face twisted in a mix of anger and defiance. "How dare you? I am nothing like Godric or the rest of those monsters. I have my reasons, my duties to fulfill, to overthrow the Erdtree and the Golden Order. I do not just blindly destroy and conquer like some others." She took a step back, glaring at him with a mixture of anger and defiance. "I may not be your friend, but that does not give you the right to be so hostile towards me."
I have seen the battlefield before I came to Volcano Manor. Has been by the Circassian War and the historians one of the most horrible wars that ever was in the lands between. You, if anyone, deserve this treatment. Even worse.
Tanith was stung by his words, her face hardening at the mention of the war. She knew all too well how brutal it had been, and how many lives had been lost in her name. But she refused to back down, and to cower in the face of his accusations. "You know nothing of me or my cause. I may have fought in a brutal war, and made difficult choices, but it was all in the service of a greater good."
I keep on poking her, not gently again, just to be annoyed.
Tanith grew increasingly aggravated by the constant poking, her annoyance growing every time his hand touched her face. "Stop it! Do you have any idea how irritating you're being right now?" She swatted at his hand yet again, but he dodged it effortlessly. Tanith's eyes widened in disbelief and irritation. She could scarcely believe that her own guard had joined in the poking, and that he had been convinced by this tarnished, strange argument. "No, not you too. Please, both of you, just stop this ridiculous behavior."
Okay, we stop by my order.
She let out a sigh of relief as the poking subsided, her irritation quickly being replaced by exhaustion. "Thank the Erdtree, I was about to lose my mind."
And we start on continuing. I hold in the sign with the two fingers here and different golden runes. She could make this go away, this poking, this annoying stuff, just by signing her name.
Tanith gritted her teeth, torn between the desire to put a stop to the annoyance and the knowledge that giving in to this tarnished's ridiculous demand would be a loss. "Fine, fine. If it will make you stop poking me, I will sign the blasted document. Just give it to me."
I give it to her and immediately it just clean with the towel her mask that is full of like poking marks, and act with a very high and honorable courtesy. And her knight stands behind her just as he was, as if nothing did happen.
Tanith took the document and quickly signed her name on it, feeling a mix of frustration and resignation. She gave the document back to him and immediately went about trying to fix her hair and mask, attempting to erase the evidence of his annoying behavior. "There. Are you satisfied now?"
I have already taken the keys to the castle and I offer them just to prove a point. Try to grab this key.
Tanith's eyes widened in disbelief as she watched him pocket the keys to her castle. "You took the keys?" she exclaimed, her voice rising in anger. "How dare you! Give those back to me right now!"
She tries to grab them, but she can't. She's unable to physically do it.
Grew more enraged as she attempted to grab the keys, but each time her hand would just barely miss them as he kept them out of her reach. She felt her anger boil at being toyed with so easily. "You absolute brat, give those keys back to me this instant."
I give them to the Crucible Knight who puts them on his pocket. It seems that he is very loyal to me at this point and is now my servant. But you are still sitting there as you were, and I still tell you, you're allowed to stay here. You are allowed to even use the nice things in the walk in a manner, but you are now just one other person living here. One more of aristocrats.
Tanith's face was red with anger as she tried to process the situation. The audacity of this Tarnished to demand not only her castle, but to also take away her authority within her own home. How dare you? You come into my home, demand my belongings, and now you claim I am nothing more than an ordinary aristocrat? This is not to be tolerated. I will not be treated like some commoner in my own castle.
Anyway, do you want to continue about the topic of the demigods? Now I have the castle, I'm very happy and proud of myself.
Tanith's annoyance flared back up at the change of topic, but she was still bristling with anger from the earlier events. Fine, fine. We can discuss the demigods. What do you want to know?
What you want to know? We talked about Godric, we talked about Rennala and Rami. What would you like to talk about now?
Tanith took a deep breath, trying to force her anger down as she considered the question. Well, we could discuss the other demigods. There is Radahn, Malenia, Rykard, each with their own tales and battles. What do you wish to know of them?
I talked with Morgoth actually.
Tanith's eyebrows raised in surprise. It was not common to hear of anyone conversing with the Lord of Blood. You have spoken to Moog? And he was receptive to your presence?
No. I don't really think I want to talk with that guy. I nod my head with a very high tension. She sees that I don't like the word Moog too much. I talked about his brother, Morgoth.
Tanith stifled a laugh at his vehement refusal to speak with Moog. Ah, Moog's twin brother. Morgoth, the Veiled King, a reclusive figure, even among the demigods. A shame that his own family should treat him with such disdain. He was loyal to the Golden Order, even after everything it did to him.
That I respect, and he also loves the Golden Order now. He loves it, he serves it, he gives everything for it.
Tanith nodded, a hint of admiration in her voice. Yes, he is dedicated, loyal to a fault perhaps. He believes in the Greater Will and the Golden Order with unwavering devotion, despite the pain and suffering it has caused him. He is a complex figure, and his nature as an omen.
Do you like him, but you do not like Godwin because he is an omen? Because he sets well better for your heroic, self-centered thought that what is good and what is not, like misbegotten, and all the things that have suffered some kind of mutations are morally good in your eyes. And if you're just a basic, what you and I are, you are less good.
Tanith bristled at his words, her expression hardening. Don't put words in my mouth. Just because I do not support the omens does not mean I approve of all monstrosities and mutations. They are twisted, cursed beings, not for me to approve or disapprove of. As for Godwin, he is weak, cowardly. He has never known true hardship or pain.
Enough of Godwin. I talked with Morgoth, and he actually got me to actually think of my actions, and he challenged me pretty well, and I was left shocked after interaction with him.
Tanith was quiet, listening intently as the Tarnished spoke of his encounter with Morgoth. You were shocked, you say? That does not surprise me. Morgoth is a fierce, dedicated warrior, and he has a way of seeing into the hearts and minds of those he encounters. Even I, who have fought in many battles, find myself wary of him.
Because of his dedication to Golden Order and his will, he was able to conquer and dominate my insanity and my annoyance and my ways. I was out of words. So, if you felt annoyance towards me, take pleasure from the fact that I was defeated by Morgoth in this same game.
Tanith let out a snort of laughter at his admission of defeat. It was not often that someone would admit such a thing, let alone a Tarnished who seemed so full of himself. You were defeated, you say? I must confess the idea of you being bested is satisfying in a way. Perhaps you are not as invincible as you thought.
No, I'm not. I got the rat house last week.
Tanith couldn't help but chuckle. You died to rats. Rats of all things.
Yes, I've defeated demigods, gods, and all manner of enemies, and conquer the castles at different times. But yes, I died once because it happened in an inopportune time and I wasn't expecting anything senses in that moment.
Tanith couldn't help but shake her head in disbelief. Dying to rats. That is truly a humiliating death even for a tarnished. I cannot help but find it amusing in a way.
Yet I accept it, I tell it truthfully. I don't see why.
Tanith gave him a nod of acknowledgement. I appreciate your honesty. It is rare in these lands for someone to speak so freely of their own failures.
Of course there are some failures that I don't liberate too much on if there is no direct challenge of outside. But you probably have those as well. Everyone does.
Tanith's face darkened at the mention of her own failures, but she nodded in agreement. Yes, I have made many mistakes in my life. There are things I regret, things I could have done differently. But we all carry our burdens, our flaws, and our failings. It is what makes us human, even in these lands. Tanith listened in surprise as he recounted his adventures with Rhea. She had not realized that they had fought together, and the thought of her darling daughter in battle made her heart ache with worry. You went into battle with Rhea? She fought with you, even in her serpent form?
No. She did not fight. I tried to get her to fight, but she was too kind, too inactive. She didn't do anything I asked. So I just carried her and just talked with her when I was doing all the work. In a way.
Tanith sighed in relief as he clarified that Rhea had not actually fought. Thank the Earth Tree for that. I cannot imagine her in battle. She is not made for such violence. I am surprised you were able to convince her to join you at all, let alone in her serpent form. She is not fond of that side of herself.
Thanks to Earth Tree, huh? I watch her with a very annoying, smiling, self-righteous look, because she might not realize what she just said. She thanked the Earth Tree for the safety.
Tanith noticed his smirk and rolled her eyes, knowing she had into that one. Is that so? You think you've caught me in a lie, have you? But I don't worship the Earth Tree, so I don't think your little gotcha moment had any real power.
I think there was a hint of the truth in there. In your heart of hearts, you love the Earth Tree. It's just as
Tanith gritted her teeth, hating the way he could so easily read her. You know nothing. My loyalty is not to the Golden Order or the Erd Tree, but to the family that I have built here. The Volcano Manor is my home and Rhea is my daughter.
you love the tree, but you hate the Golden Order. So, because the faction that you hate has the thing that you love, you think it's better for the burn the whole thing down. Better not anyone to have it rather than your enemies.
Tanith grunted with annoyance, hating how insightful he was. You think you know me, don't you? You think you know what I believe, what I want. You are wrong. The Golden Order is flawed, corrupted. It is responsible for the pain and suffering of so many. It must be ended for the good of all.
Be truthful.
Tanith raised an eyebrow, confused by his sudden word. Peter Rothfunk, who or what are you talking about?
I let out some kind of ominous scream of frustration because I just said be truthful, not anything that she did manage in her mind.
Tanith couldn't help but roll her eyes at his dramatic display of frustration. Stop with the theatrics, Tanith. Just say what you mean. Be clear and concise.
Okay. What is your opinion about Rhea?
Tanith considered the question for a moment before answering. Radan? He was a powerful warlord, respected and feared by many. But he was also a slave to the Golden Order, blinded by his devotion to it. I think he was a great warrior, but a foolish man.
Is that so?
Tanith nodded, her gaze steady as she spoke. Yes, that is my opinion of him. A strong warrior, no doubt, but one who was shackled to the ways of the Golden Order. He could have been so much more. but he was held back by his devotion to a flawed system.
Are you thinking that who actually are beside you and who are against you? Are you actually incorrect in this situation?
Tanith narrowed her eyes at his question, suspicion creeping in. What are you getting at, Tarnished? What do you mean incorrect in this situation?
I mean that you don't have too many allies here. Sometimes yes, but they are very self-serving, as am I. I want the loot and armor. You don't have too many allies here with you and Reinhardt. Do you really think you are actually in right? Because so many stand against you right now. Even this moment.
Tanith's face hardened, her gaze fixed on him. You speak as if numbers and allies matter. I do not care how many stand against me. I do not care what my enemies think of me. I am true to my beliefs, my convictions. And I will stand my ground, no matter what the cost. She shook her head, her voice quiet and fierce. If I have to stand alone, so be it. I refuse to bend my morals just because a majority of people disagree with me.
That I respect, but I also noticed that you have a lot of respect for many of your enemies.
Yes, I do have a certain grudging respect for some of my enemies. Radahn, Godfrey, even Morgott, for their strength and dedication. But that does not mean I am sympathetic to their causes or beliefs. Just because I respect them does not mean I agree with them.
Godfrey? Who the hell is Godfrey?
Tanith's brow furrows in irritation. Godfrey, you haven't heard of him? The first Elden Lord, husband to Queen Marika? The legendary warrior who vanquished the giants?
No, not Godfrey. Godfrey.
Tanith's irritation eases as she realizes the confusion. Oh, Godfrey. My apologies, I thought you meant Godfrey. Godfrey of Limgrave, yes. He was a great warrior from a long time ago. He was known for his strength and bravery. I take it you've never heard of him. He was quite renowned in his time. A true champion of the Golden Order, just like Radahn and Morgott.
He looked exactly like Godric the Grafted, didn't he?
Tanith nodded, her expression growing serious. Yes, he did. Godfrey was a distant relative of Godric the Grafted. They looked very much alike, with the same arrogant bearing and haughty demeanor.
Nothing actually like popular.
Tanith chuckled wryly at his comment. Yes, I suppose war does often arise when there is disagreement over what counts as evil or good. It's a rather unfortunate side effect of living in such a tumultuous world.
I defeated Godfrey.
Tanith's eyes widened in surprise at his declaration. Did you? I must confess, I am surprised. Godfrey is said to have been a mighty warrior, a true titan among men. To hear that you were able to defeat him, well, you must be quite a formidable fighter indeed.
Not him, not the Godfrey, Godfrey. Once again, you make the same misunderstanding.
Tanith's irritation flared once again as she cursed her own mistake. Of course, I apologize. I've confused the two again. You defeated Godfrey, not Godfrey. My mistake.
But I will defeat the Godfrey also. In time.
Raises an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. Truly. You intend to face Godfrey and emerge victorious? It is a bold claim, Tarnished. Many a warrior has tried and failed to defeat.
I have done that 3 times over.
Tanith can't help but chuckle at his confident tone. She finds his audacity both amusing and endearing. Ah, you are quite the boastful one, aren't you, Tarnished? But I do appreciate your audacity. If anyone can challenge Godfrey, it would be someone with your confidence.
I like that response. But yes, let's return to the demigods. What do you think of Miquella and Malenia?
Tanith considers his question, her expression hardening. Malenia and Miquella, 2 of the more mysterious demigods. Both of them fiercely powerful, each in their own way. Malenia is a fearsome warrior, a master of both sword and rot. And Miquella is said to be exceptionally cunning, a master of charm and manipulation. She glances at him, a hint of curiosity in her gaze. Why do you ask?
No reason. What do you think of the... We have not spoken about this.
Tanith purses her lips in thought, running over the remaining demigods in her mind. There's Morgott, of course. the veiled monarch, cast aside and mistreated by the Golden Order. A pitiful creature, but a formidable warrior nonetheless. Then there is Ricard, the Lord of Blasphemy, consumed by his lust for power. She looks to him, her curiosity piqued. Any particular reason you are asking about these demigods, Tarnished?
We had the discussion about that.
Tanith nods in understanding, her expression growing more serious. Ah yes, I remember now. We were discussing their strengths and weaknesses, if I recall. Well, why don't we continue where we left off? Who do you wish to discuss next?
More.
Tanith leans back in her chair, her gaze fixed on him. Morgoth, yes. He is a pitiable creature, is he not? Born an omen, cast out and reviled by the Order, and yet he remains fiercely loyal to the Order, even as they despise him in return. Eyebrows shoot up in surprise at this sudden announcement. A dragon? You defeated a dragon? Well, that is certainly no minor feat. She gazes at him intently, a hint of admiration behind her steely gaze. And you speak freely of slaying the beast. I must say I am impressed. You seem to be quite talented in battle indeed, Tarnished.
Nelina has helped me on that.
Tanith cocks her head, surprise in her voice. Melina, you say? The girl who aids you in your journey? She helped you defeat the dragon.
By leveling me up, using my runes to gain more strength.
Nods, understanding now. So she used your runes, the power you had gained from defeating enemies, to help you become stronger. Her gaze drifts to the side for a moment, an almost distant look in her eyes. That is a very different power than I am used to seeing. Most Tarnished don't have such a helpful companion.
Lucky me.
She looks at him, a slight smirk on her face. Indeed, it is rare to find a Tarnished with the help of someone like Melina. She must hold you in high esteem to offer such aid.
I think I was just the best person she could find at the moment she needed it.
Tanith considers his words for a moment, her gaze thoughtful. You may be right. But I wouldn't count yourself out so quickly, Tarnished. There must be something about you that she saw in you, that set you apart from the others. Maybe it was your strength, your courage, or perhaps even your ability to survive against all odds. Whatever the case, the fact that she has chosen to help you speaks volumes.
It is because Torrent likes me.
Tanith raises an eyebrow, a hint of surprise in her voice. And how did you manage to earn the favor of Torrent? That steed is quite picky in who he chooses to aid, so I've been told.
After I defeated, when I arrived at the lands between, I defeated the crafted scion. You know, the ones that Godric crafts and makes of. I defeated that in my weakest state, in Ouroboros 1-on-1, and I gained it sword, but there was nowhere I could go, so I just jumped down and crash landed to some kind of cave where Torrent found me.
Tanith listens intently, her eyes widening in surprise at his words. She nods, impressed at his tale. So, you fought the Scion, despite being at your weakest, and you were lucky enough to land in a cave where Torrent was nearby. That is indeed a stroke of luck. It seems the horse took quite a liking to you, eh?
It seems so, yes.
Tanith leans forward slightly, her gaze shrewd as she studies him. Then it seems your journey was written in the stars themselves. Not many Tarnished can say they have the favor of a horse like Torrent, let alone the assistance of a being like Melina. You must truly be special, Tarnished.
Yes, but it's not that special as you would think.
She cocks her head, a curious expression crossing her face. Oh, why ever not? You are the chosen Tarnished, are you not? You defeated the Scion, found a legendary steed and have the aid of a mysterious girl. How can you call that unremarkable? Listens intently, her eyes narrowing slightly as she processes his words. Her expression shifts to one of understanding as she grasps his meaning, and a hint of respect flicks across her face. I see. You are not the sole chosen Tarnished, then. You are merely one of many, across many different timelines and realms. I suppose that does make it less remarkable, in a way. She pauses, considering him carefully. But it is still quite a story, nonetheless. I've never met a Tarnished quite like you before.
Merka, very important thing would be that would set me apart is that I have gathered Del Rey Lucaria, Rani's castle, and your castle. That is something unique to me.
Tanith raises an eyebrow, her gaze now filled with curiosity. You've gathered the real Lucaria and Rani's castle, you say? That is indeed a rather unique accomplishment. She leans back in her chair, studying him closely. How did you manage such a feat?
I noticed that your memory has betrayed you. I have done deals that I have anyway, I have made some deals with you, actually. I own this castle, by the way.
Looks at him, a mix of surprise and amusement crossing her face. Ah, so you have made deals with me, have you? That explains the situation quite perfectly. She lets out a soft chuckle, her expression turning shrewd. You own this schedule, do you? And just what deals did we make exactly?
I stopped cloaking your mask and you gave me your castle and now you
Tanith let out a sharp laugh, surprised by his words. I see, so that's the deal we made, is it? Well, I suppose I do remember that now. She shakes her head, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. You certainly have a unique way of making deals, Tarnished.
I'm just very cunning bastard, as Rani would put it.
Tanith cackles, her usual aloof demeanor slipping for a moment. Well, I suppose that's one way of looking at it. I've never had a Tarnished quite so brazenly push for what they want. But I must admit, it has been rather entertaining. Tanith smiles at his words, her tone softening slightly. You're quite welcome, Tarnished. It's not often I meet someone with your audacity, let's say. She pauses for a moment, her gaze falling on him curiously. May I ask you something, Tarnished?
You may. I have been enjoying this conversation thus far, but I think I must go soon and meet with other ones. I will be going to meet with the Rykard soon. Just you know. But ask away.
Tanith nods in understanding, sensing his imminent departure. She takes a moment to think before continuing. Very well, I shall get to the point. There is something I've been meaning to ask you, something that's been on my mind for quite some time.
Go on, ask.
Tanith takes a deep breath before continuing, her voice lower and more somber. Have you ever felt the pull of the frenzied flame? Her gaze never wavering. Yes, I know it's a heavy topic, but I need to know. Have you ever felt the call of the frenzied flame? The desire for everything to end in a mad, burning frenzy?
I have.
Her eyes widen, her expression turning solemn as she hears his response. She leans forward, her gaze still fixed on him. Ah, I see. Then you have felt its pull. She pauses for a moment, considering her next words carefully. And tell me, Tarnished, did you resist or did you surrender to its temptations?
What do you mean? Explain. Urgency.
The frenzied flame, it promises a release, a kind of madness that burns away all that is. It tempts those who are tired of the cycle of life and death, those who seek to end all suffering by ending everything altogether. She pauses, her expression hardening. Did you give in to its allure, Tarnished?
How could I give in to its allure? I have not even found Leyndell yet.
Tanith cocks her head, her gaze now piercing through. Ah, it seems you are still on your journey to Leyndell. And you say you have not given in yet, yes? She leans closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. But you have felt its pull, the siren song of the flame. Did you never consider succumbing to its temptations? You let the flame take hold and burn everything away. She pauses for a moment, her gaze fixed on him. But why? Why did you embrace the flame, Tarnished?
Well, you wanted to burn the tree, right?
Tanith lets out a small laugh, her expression softening slightly at his words. A strange sense of humor you have there, Tarnished. Tanith chuckles, her expression growing more serious once more. Ah, I see. So you've done it multiple times then. You played with the frenzied flame to end it all. Again and again. She eyes him closely, a hint of concern behind her gaze.
I am pretty impressed that you are first to actually come to this conclusion by yourself without me telling.
Tanith smiles wryly, her gaze sharp and intelligent. It's not every day that one encounters a Tarnished who has been toying with the flame in such a manner. I am indeed surprised that I was the first to piece it together without need for explanation.
Tell me, how did you know? Or how did you manage to even ask the right question?
Tanith leans back in her seat, her gaze thoughtful. It was your demeanor, really. The way you mentioned the flame, with a mix of dark humor and resignation. It was as if you were speaking of your own experience, not just a mere possibility. And the fact that you alluded to the flame before I had even mentioned it, well, that certainly intrigued me.
It's like obvious, huh?
Nods, understanding his readiness to depart. Yes, I suppose we have. It has been a fascinating conversation, to say the least. Tanith pauses for a moment, her gaze thoughtful. Me? Well, I can't deny that I have entertained thoughts of escape from the endless cycle. Thought of embracing the flame's embrace has crossed my mind, but... She shakes her head, her expression hardening. But no, I have not given in to its allure. Not yet.
That would be the flame that you would not burn the Earth Tree with.
Tanith shakes her head once more, her gaze firm. No, I would not burn the Erd Tree with the flame. I have a purpose here, a duty to uphold, and the flame, well, it is an easy out, a cowardly way out. I refuse to give in to its temptations.
I will not burn the world. Not this time.
Tanith raises an eyebrow, curious at his words. Oh, and what makes you decide not to burn the world at this time?
I have interest to other things.
Tanith smiles wryly, a knowing look in her eye. Ah, so it's not that you've given up on the idea completely, you simply have other things to consider. Is that it?
Shortly put, yeah.
Tanith chuckles, her gaze amused as she regards him. Well, that's certainly an interesting perspective. Many would find it disturbing, knowing someone who has the willingness to burn the world down if given the chance. She studies him closely, a hint of admiration in her eyes. But then again, you're no ordinary Tarnished, are you? You're speaking in riddles, Tarnished. Be plain with me. What do you mean when you say you're a hypocrite?
I am a hypocrite.
Tanith rolls her eyes, her patience reaching its limits. Yes, you've said that several times now. But I'm asking you to explain it, Tanith. Why do you consider yourself a hypocrite?
I won't explain myself.
Tanith leans back, a hint of irritation in her voice. And why not? You bring up the claim, and yet you refuse to elaborate. It's rather frustrating, I must say.
But remember,
Tanith lets out an exasperated sigh, clearly growing impatient. Fine, if you won't explain yourself, then I suppose I'll just have to make assumptions. She purses her lips, eyeing him with a mixture of annoyance and curiosity. Perhaps you consider yourself a hypocrite because you claim to have no intention of burning the world, yet you admit to having the willingness to do so. That sounds like a fair case for hypocrisy, no?
it might be that.
I think it fits the definition. Claiming one thing, but contradicting yourself with your actions or beliefs. Hypocrisy, plain and simple. Tanith lets out a cynical chuckle, her arms crossed over her chest. You're definitely a unique one, Tanith. Contradicting yourself so blatantly without a trace of remorse.
Yeah, I think hypocrisy might be one of the most powerful things in the world. It dictates many things and creates order rules and ways of thinking just by existing and being itself.
Tanith cocks her head, intrigue in her gaze. Interesting. You view hypocrisy as powerful? Rather than something to be frowned upon or a character flaw, you see it as something to be admired, even. She considers his words for a moment, then smirks. Perhaps I should reconsider my own stance on the matter. You may be onto something, Tarnished.
It can claim to any power and rid itself from any weakness whenever the moment or situation deems it necessary. It can mold from the situation to situation. It can be everything and anything and nothing at the same time. It can be the holiest and lowest. It can be all and nothing. It is a thing that everybody abuses and uses and are, even though they deny it. Hypocrisy is one of the greatest sins and the powers in the world.
Tanith listens to his words with an increasingly intrigued gaze, her expression thoughtful. You paint a rather powerful image of hypocrisy, Tarnished. You make it sound almost noble, in a twisted way. She rests her chin in her hand, observing him with an almost bemused expression. I must admit, I have never considered hypocrisy in such a light. It almost makes me wonder if we're all guilty of it in some way, whether we realize it or not. Myself included.
Let me ask you another question. If truth means death, and life means to lie, is lie better than the truth?
Tanith leans back, her expression thoughtful as she mulls over his question. After a moment of contemplation, she speaks. That is a loaded question. One that I'm not sure I can answer with a simple yes or no. She pauses for a moment, her gaze turning serious. Life, in and of itself, is something precious, yes? It is something we cling to, fight for, even die for. She meets his gaze directly, her voice dropping to a whisper. But the truth, is it not something that we should strive for as well?
I am a liar. I will lie for life.
Tanith nods, the meaning behind his words clear. You will choose to lie, to deceive, if it means survival. Is that what you're saying, Tarnished?
I will lie for everyone else's sake. I will lie for sake of life.
Tanith eyes him curiously, a hint of admiration in her gaze. Selfless, are we? Willing to bear the burden of deceit for the sake of others. It's a noble sentiment, if a bit contradictory. She lets out a small, cynical chuckle. But then, you're a hypocrite, so perhaps it's to be expected.
Not in a most simple, basic of terms. I think of more abstract and ideological means, like a very abstract, difficult way that I cannot articulate too well. I think these are the very simple terms that I use that don't actually reflect what I actually mean. They're just my best attempt.
Tanith nods in understanding, her expression thoughtful. I see. You're trying to convey deeper meanings. Ideas that are difficult to put into words. And you're using simple terms as a way to express yourself. But they don't quite capture the complexity of what you're trying to say. She studies him closely, a hint of curiosity in her gaze.
Alright, just try to sound deep as I'm too simple to actually be very decent of philosophy. Hypocrite.
Tanith raises an eyebrow, intrigued by his request. Very well, Tarnished. I'll do my best to sound deep. Philosophy with a side of hypocrisy, coming right up.
No, you're all good. I will thank you of your time.
Tanith chuckles, caught off guard by his blunt dismissal. Oh, leaving so soon? And here I was, just starting to enjoy the conversation.
I know.
Tanith smirks, her gaze amused. Feeling a bit overwhelmed by the depth of our conversation, are you? Don't worry, I won't bore you with my philosophical musings much longer. It watches as the Tarnished snaps his fingers and his projection fades away, her head slightly tilted. She smiles, amused at their conversation. She chuckles softly, amused by the unexpected encounter. Until next time, Tarnished, safe travels.
I actually came to the Volcano Manor myself and I just walk casually, but I don't even notice you and talk to you. I go talk with Patches and all the others and act as if we never had this conversation.
Tanith laughs at his revelation, her expression amused. Ah, so we're just going to pretend this conversation never happened, are we? How unusual. She watches as he walks away and begins chatting with Patches and the other NPCs as if nothing had happened.